It's a great day to be alive on the Dead Jeff Show. Welcome everybody into the debut edition of the Dead Jeff Show. I'm Jeff Cox, and that is Nick Martinez, and we'll be here with you for the next hour or so, talking Cowboys, Packers, and whatever else comes to mind. So people want to know, why is it called the Dead Jeff Show? Obviously, you're alive, Jeff. Why'd you call it the Dead Jeff Show?
That's right. You look pretty live to me.
Well, thanks, man. Appreciate that. I think the reason we called it the Dead Jeff Show is because this is something I always wanted to do. It's a bucket list item, so I wanted to do it before I was dead. So it just sort of naturally, stuck. As a kid, I would stay up late to watch the sportscasters.
Yep.
I would listen to sports radio as much as I could, and it's not like today where it was just all at your fingertips. It was just more about, you had to get it in snippets. I mean, we had to look at box scores in the paper.
Yeah.
And sometimes if it was a late game, it would be the next following day before you could see it. But Dead Jeff Show is because this is a bucket list item for me. I'm glad I get to do it with my friend Nick. And I thought before we get into the aftermath of Cowboys versus Packers, the Micah Bowl, I wanted to kind of give you guys out there a little insight to who we are, our sports alliances, and who we're fans of. So, Nick, why don't you get us started? Tell us how you came to be a fan of the teams that you're a fan of.
Yeah. So I was born and raised in San Antonio, 1988.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Do some math there for us, Jeff.
No, it's okay. That math means I'm old.
Yeah. So I grew up, I always tell people I'm a spoiled sports fan is what I am. Say that 5 times fast.
A spoiled sports fan.
Yeah. I grew up, really my first memory of sports in general was watching the 92 Super Bowl.
Oh, wow.
I remember a little bit of that season, not a lot though, but I remember having a big house party, my aunt's house or something, and watching Cowboys Bills. And I remember very specifically that game. And what I remember most is because I'm 5 years old, something like that, 4 or 5 years old, and I have this very distinct memory of that. But I remember hearing they were going to lose. My whole family, everyone was just, man, we're just happy to be here, right? It was a fast rebuild, and everyone was happy to be there, but they're probably not going to win this one.
Came out of nowhere.
Yeah. And so when that game is unfolding, it's like, oh man, I remember that feeling and the energy in the house, and, it's 30, 40 people. Again, first memory I have. So, they talk about you go to a game for the atmosphere, because obviously it looks a lot better if you watch it on TV, but you get that, the people around you. So that was my early memory of sports, and, fell in love with the Cowboys. My whole family were Cowboys fans. One of my aunts actually went to high school and was real close friends with Mark Stepnoski.
Oh, wow.
So he would come around sometimes in the summers and stuff like that. So, just really cool with the Cowboys. And then obviously really I'm a diehard Cowboys fan, but if you can be a little more than a diehard, it would be for the Spurs.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So really, really big into the Spurs, David Robinson, Sean Elliott, Avery Johnson, all the way. And so for me, I transitioned from the Cowboys dynasties of the early 90s into the Spurs dynasty. They get Duncan, they win albeit the lockout shortened season of the 99 year.
The 50-game season.
The 50-game season. Maybe, I've heard you say this, maybe what it should be.
Yeah,
maybe we
50
should
games,
do
that's all we need to play.
Yeah.
Let's get to the playoffs.
So I always say I went from 92, first memory of sports winning a championship. 2014 was the last year the last year the Spurs won a championship. So that's a good 2-decade run.
Yeah.
Is my math right there? Is that 3 decades? It's a long time. It's a long time to
15. You said 92.
92 to
20.
14. Yeah. There you go.
22 years.
Yeah, but a long time to have the teams that I really, really root for be super relevant.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you, you didn't have to go through the heartaches with the Cowboys in the 80s.
Nope.
Well, I did. And let me just tell you, as a kid, my early sports memories, I've been a Cowboys fan since I was young. We moved to Texas when I was 5 years old, and I was immediately in love with the Cowboys. And I got to see the tail end of Roger Staubach and his retirement. The biggest first sports memory for me is the catch.
Okay.
That year of the catch. So we transitioned from Roger to Danny White.
Yep.
My favorite Dallas Cowboy player was Tony Hill, Thrill Hill. And my second was Danny White, and my third was Everson Walls. Well, the catch happened on Everson Walls. Yep. And so that sort of set the course of the decade for me. I hated the Niners and have ever since the 49ers since that game.
Mm-hmm.
But I felt like, oh man, we got to get them back, and it was a long time before we did, but we did. We finally did. And so the 80s were a bunch of near misses, got to the NFC Championship games, couldn't get it done. So it was sort of the team that couldn't get over the hump.
Quite get over, yeah.
And then we experienced the joy of the 90s Cowboys coming out of nowhere. And now when Jerry bought the team and fired Tom Landry, that was a big memory for me because everyone hated Jerry Jones for firing Tom Landry. How do you fire Tom Landry? He's the greatest.
Yep.
Well, the problem with the greatest is they can't be great forever. And it probably was time to fire Tom Landry, but it's how they
went about it.
Yeah, that got everybody's, got everybody upset. Well, short 3 years later, they're in the Super Bowl
contending,
and so I cried a sports tear when they won. And they beat the 49ers to get there, and that was a great day.
Yep.
And then we had the 2000s with Romo. It was kind of repeat of the Danny White era,
not quite.
And then we're still waiting for the glory days to return here. And I joke all the time. My son is 26. He hadn't seen him win anything. So
different sports bring up for him, I guess.
Yeah, and so I'm a little bit older than you. So I did not have the joyous upbringing. But I will tell you this: the thing that is big in my sports memory, two things. One, I was a fan of players back then. A big fan of the Cowboys.
Yep.
Big fan of the Mavericks. But in baseball, it was like players. Like I had Don Mattingly and Darryl Strawberry were my two favorite players ever. And they both were from New York teams.
Couple of troubled guys, too.
Yeah. And so, Mattingly was great, but...
Well, troubled in career sense.
Yeah. He was the guy that couldn't get him there, right? And then he retires in 95, and then they win.
They win 96, that's right.
Poor Don Mattingly. And then Darryl Strawberry, we all know his story, but I guess... the Mavericks, I loved Roy Tarpley. And so all these guys just are the flawed heroes. I guess I like the flawed heroes and not the guys, Jordan, I loved Patrick Ewing growing up and he had Jordan to contend with and everybody loved Jordan. And I respected Jordan, wasn't a huge fan because the Knicks couldn't get by him.
That's an interesting. The Spurs beat the Knicks. They took Ewing out in 99. I know.
We'll get there. We'll get there. But my point is that all these guys that I liked were guys that couldn't quite get there, and they were kind of lovable losers in a way, but flawed heroes, I like to call them, not lovable losers. But that was sort of shaped my childhood, and in the 80s, it was like baseball cards, stats. You knew every player, you knew his stats, you could quote those things, and there were 4 or 5 stars on every team. It seemed like, but I fell in love with the Cowboys. I fell in love with the Mavericks. But the thing that brought our family together was world-class championship wrestling. The Von Erichs.
Von Erichs, Freebirds.
So my family was dysfunctional as it was. But one thing we did do is Saturday nights, 10 o'clock, we got together, we watched wrestling. My mom would fall asleep in the chair watching wrestling. But my dad, my sister, and myself, we were there. And then Sunday mornings, we didn't go to church, but we watched on Channel 39. So I remember that day in May when Kerry Von Erich beat Ric Flair.
Yeah.
And, at that time we were sort of discovering that this is not real. As a kid, you're like, okay, how could they be always that close to beating Ric Flair, but not? And then finally, Kerry Von Erich held the championship. Of course, it was at David Von Erich Memorial card at the Parade of Champions. But that memory will stick with me forever because that's something we did as a family. And the guy who was always close, the family that was always close, finally got the championship. Now, Kerry lost it 3 weeks later.
Yeah.
And never got it again, but, the rest of the story. But that's it. Wrestling, man, was a big part of my growing up, and it's something we'll talk about from time to time here. But Cowboys, Mavericks, wrestling, that was sort of my childhood.
Yeah, and it's funny you say wrestling. Like I mentioned kind of feeling like I'm a spoiled sports fan. Well, my earliest memories of wrestling, my dad took me as dysfunction as it may be, that relationship, he took me to the Alamo Dome to my first live wrestling event. And I'm going to get the year wrong. I think it was 96. I think it was a 96 Royal Rumble when Stone Cold Steve Austin, who was not Stone Cold at that time, he was going by Stone Cold Steve Austin, but the persona wasn't there yet. And he was hated. He wasn't the guy everyone loved. He was still the guy that everyone hated. And Bret Hart was
he the ringmaster still?
No, he had just transitioned out because
All right.
DiBiase had just left. So, but he came back. So Bret Hart eliminates him. No refs are on that side of the ring to see it. Austin comes back into the ring and cheats and throws Bret over. And we left the Alamo Dome just so angry. I would have been 8 years old, 9 years old, so mad, in tears, just couldn't, and then a year later or whatever it is, he's the best guy we've ever seen. And so I grew up in the Attitude Era.
Wow.
So I had Cowboys winning championships, I had the Spurs winning championships, and I had Stone Cold drinking beers and the Attitude Era, and transitioning into Ruthless Aggression Era, which, depending on who you talk to, were two of the most, prominent times in wrestling history. So
for sure, yeah. I'm a big WWE guy, and I got the pleasure of watching all of that. And I didn't quite compare to the nostalgia that was world class championship wrestling, but it's always been part of when I watch wrestling. I think about my family.
Yeah.
And all of them are gone now. They're no longer with me. My mom passed away. My dad, my stepdad, and my sister. They're all gone now. But that nostalgia comes up every time I watch wrestling. But I think it's nowadays. I'm a big Rangers fan. I'm a big Cowboys fan. And I'm a big Mavericks fan.
Rangers too. You're talking about guys that just not quite getting it over. I mean, you go from the Cardinal series and the letdown that one. Sorry, bringing up a sore subject here for you.
Yeah,
but
man, I thought Josh Hamilton won the World Series for us, and then lightning strikes. But
how good did it? I mean, coming from that, just like you mentioned it. So if you're a Rangers fan, you've got 20, 30 years, 40 years of really loving this team. How great does it feel when they win the World Series?
Well, yeah, I mean it's great. Now, to be clear, I didn't become a Ranger fan till later in life. I was chasing Don Mattingly and Darryl Strawberry and those guys, but so I would like the Rangers, but it was more the Yankees because Darryl Strawberry went on the Yankees later. But after Mattingly left, Strawberry came and they won. They won those titles. But anyway, the Rangers, when they won the World Series, 50 years it took them to get there, to win it.
Yeah.
But that was a big sports moment. And when the Mavericks won in 11, I think I've cried 3 times in my life with sports.
Yeah.
This is the time the Cowboys won the first time.
The first one,
2011 when the Mavericks won.
Yep.
It's a little sports tear there. And 2006 was regrettable, or a forgettable memory.
Dwayne Wade series,
But we should have won that one too.
Yeah, should have for sure.
And then 2023 when the Rangers won, it's like the trifecta.
Yeah.
And then of course the Stars won in 99 or whatever it was early. So but anyway, so I haven't had the fortunate sports life fandom that you've had.
Yeah.
It seemed all the guys that I like are chasing rings
Yep.
or were trying to get that done and couldn't quite get there. But my teams finally did it, and my whole life I've got to see my teams win it all.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I'm very excited about that. And listen, I'm probably going to be a little bit of a Cowboys homer, but I'm not too emotional where I can't be objective.
Yeah.
So speaking of the Cowboys,
let's get into it.
Let's get into the aftermath.
Yeah, what a game.
All this build up, the Micah Bowl. Was Jerry wrong for trading him? What's going to happen? How bad are the Cowboys going to get blown out?
That's right.
How many sacks will Micah have?
Yep.
All of this going into the game, and we get a 40-40 tie.
I mean, the only way you could possibly exceed whatever everyone had put in their head, and they did it.
Well, the Cowboys are just goofy enough, right? Like, look, last week they didn't show up.
No.
And play well against the Bears. And the Bears blew them out.
Yep.
Got embarrassed.
Yep.
And then they come and everybody's counting them out. I mean, all the pundits, everybody, I think Skip Bayless is the only one who picked them to win or said they would win. But everyone counted them out.
Yep.
This is not going to be close. It's going to be a dominant game. Now, before we get into the game, let's talk about where did you stand, since this is our debut episode.
Yeah.
Where did you stand when you heard the news that Micah was traded?
So the very immediate thought I had is, what did we get?
Yeah.
Because to me, there's so few guys, especially in the NFL, knowing what, just how long a shelf life is for an NFL player. I don't think that there's very few that you can't ever trade. In the NBA, I think it's way different. I think there are generational players that, hey, I don't care what your haul is, you can't give that guy up. In the NFL, for me personally, I think it's far different. So my immediate thought was, what did we get?
Right.
And when I heard 2 firsts and Kenny Clark, I thought that's not enough.
Yeah.
If you were going to do this, and that was where you set yourself for his age and where he is and all that stuff, why not do this pre-draft?
Well, let's look at the timeline a little bit there, and we don't want to get too much into this because it's older news, but Jerry said they offered him a contract. They had an agreement.
That's right.
It was $40 million a year.
41, I think.
And then all of a sudden, that was a starting point for Micah's agent, and Jerry just shut down and said, "No, we had an agreement. We shook hands." So he wanted to sign him, and then all of a sudden, this narrative comes out where, well, now I'd rather have these 4 or 5 players that I can get for that money and not have Micah. And then it's like, well, we've had Micah for 4 years and we haven't won anything and all this stuff. And so it got a little personal, and then Jerry's narrative changed. And that's the thing that didn't make sense to me. I mean, I would say my initial response is I'm not against trading Micah, but what it was kind of like Luka when he was traded. What did we get?
Yeah.
And we didn't get enough. And I think that's a true statement. Now, everyone expects these 2 first-round picks to be lower first-round picks, and that remains to be seen.
Right.
But that's the common thought.
Yep.
So if I got 2 late first-rounders and Kenny Clark, is that enough for Micah? And I would say no.
Right.
They should have done this at the draft.
Yep.
So they knew he was going into his final contract, year of his contract. They thought that they could get him to play on that and probably franchise him one more time if he didn't agree, sort of what they did with Dak.
That's right.
But it's like they didn't have a strategy. They fell into this.
Yeah.
And that's the problem I have with it. I wasn't against trading Luka. That might be a hot sports take.
A little bit.
But I think that they didn't get enough.
Yeah.
The Mavericks didn't get enough by far, more than the Cowboys didn't get enough. But this is a thing. We traded him. We got that back. But the real story is, if you're going to trade him at the draft. You got the leverage. All these people haven't drafted yet. You got a better deal.
Yep.
I think that's what people, having Jerry Jones as an owner and a GM has been maddening.
Yeah, because he'll never fire himself.
But he is one of those flawed hero guys.
Yeah, yeah, he is.
I mean, you just watched America's
That's
Team,
right.
where it's like Jimmy and Jerry were great together until the egos got involved. And Jerry wanted credit, and Jimmy didn't want him to have any credit for what he was doing.
Yep.
And so it's a flawed hero situation. And so Jerry's still here 30 years later trying to recreate that glory.
Yep.
And I just feel like sometimes they're a rudderless ship where let's go this way, let's go this way. And then there's no real long-term strategy here. And that was my problem with the Micah trade. Let's do that back at the draft.
Yep.
And that's how I feel about it, because I don't think, I think Micah has a tendency to disappear in some big moments.
Sure. And as the season goes on too, not only in big moments, but in the biggest moments, because it almost felt like he would always wear down toward the end of the year.
Yeah. So I just wanted to get us on record, how we felt about the Micah trade, because I think it's important now.
Yeah.
Now let's get to some stats from the game. 40-40, ended in a tie.
Second highest tie ever.
It's unbelievable that we feel like the NFL is trying to get the overtime rules right.
Right.
And then something like this happens, you're like, well, maybe they don't have it right yet. So 10-minute period.
Yeah, go back to 15, exactly.
Each team gets a possession.
Yep.
And this is what we end up with.
Yep.
So let's get to some stats before we get to the overtime. So Jordan Love, 31 of 43, 337 yards and 3 touchdowns. And all 3 were to Romeo Doubs, I think, weren't they?
That's right. And Dobbs set a career high for touchdowns in a game.
Yeah.
And if, we'll talk about it, but, the Cowboys defense now for 3 straight weeks has given up a significant career milestone to offensive players.
Yeah, we'll definitely get into that.
Yeah.
Josh Jacobs had 86 yards and 2 touchdowns on 22 carries.
It's okay.
And you know, Josh Jacobs also showed up in the receiving game. And here's the funny thing I heard about or saw about Jordan Love's stats. 28 of his completions were 10 yards or less. They just ran for yardage. But in the air, there was actually 10 yards or less. 28 of 28 or something like that.
And yet he had over 300 yards passing. So we got some either bad tackling or we got some excellent yak guys.
Oh, yeah, I would go with the former, the bad. Dak was step for step, man. Played awesome.
Stellar.
31 of 40, 319 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a rushing touchdown.
Yeah.
4 touchdowns for Dak.
Yeah.
Javonte Williams, respectable. 20 carries, 85 yards, 1 touchdown, very similar to Josh Jacobs. It's like a mirror image almost. And George Pickens coming out party as a Cowboy. CeeDee Lamb's missing.
Yep.
Here comes Pickens. It's 8 catches, 134 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
And aggressive. Just the aggressiveness of Pickens attacking the ball, because what you heard of him coming out of Pittsburgh was he has the tendency to be lackadaisical. He can take plays off. But, you know, what I saw last night was him coming back to the ball, him fighting through the contact, you know, all the things that with his physical talents, clearly, and just, you know, the height and all that kind of stuff. Like if you're going to be hyper aggressive on top of all of those things, then it doesn't surprise me that you get that. And there's very few guys in the league that can put that up.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. The knock on him is the consistency.
Right.
And you can see it in some of his tape already on the Cowboys. He will take plays off.
Yep.
If he knows he's not getting the ball, or a chance he's getting the ball, he doesn't give as much effort. And I'm not casting judgment on him. It's just an observation. It's just that was the knock on him. That's the thing. Can you be consistent with your effort? Well, he's got to be this year. It's a contract year.
That's right.
Now the question will be: is Jerry going to sign him?
That's right.
And what sort of drama are we in for there? But great offensive.
Great offensive game.
Explosion. And really, the first quarter, the Cowboys were sort of in a daze still, right? Green Bay came out and punched us in the mouth early. First drive, 8 plays, 69 yards, and touchdown, right? And the thing about it is you think, oh, no, here we go again. And in that drive, there was a 46-yard pass to Golden, right? And then you think, man, we give up a big play. Here we go. Here goes the same old thing with the Cowboys defense this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing for me in that drive that was most troubling for what we were about to see, and it's the Michael Bowl thing. It's just a lack of pressure. When you've got a team, it doesn't matter what team, but especially one with the receiving core that the Packers have. You got Kraft and you got Golden and you got Dobbs. And they're missing guys on top of that, right? They're missing Christian Watson,
and Reed.
And Reed. Yeah. So, I mean, that's an explosive offensive team. And if you're going to give Jordan Love, 2.5, 3.5, 4.5 seconds sitting back there, that stuff is going to happen.
Yeah. And then they finish off the drive with the pass to Dobbs.
Yeah.
First touchdown. And I got to be honest, I am very distracted by these concussion helmets.
Guardian hats.
The Guardian.
Yeah.
That is the most ridiculous looking thing I've ever seen. It's hilarious. And have you seen the meme that just exaggerates it?
Yeah.
It's so funny, but man, it's I feel like it's a little kid out there playing in his dad's helmet.
In his dad's helmet, yeah.
So I don't know. It was just funny to see that.
Yeah, it always reminds me. The first time I saw it, I thought of because we saw him in practices and training camp on Hard Knocks, but then when you see it in the game with the logo on and everything, it reminded me there was a game when it first came out, NFL Blitz on like Nintendo 64, and they would have the cheats for the big head.
The big
so
heads,
you would put that's exactly what it reminded me of. I can't not see it. It reminds me of Big Head NFL Blitz cheat code.
Well, that big head scored a touchdown, 3 of them, and so it's distracting.
Yeah,
but then we get a serious exchange of punts. Cowboys go 3 and out. Then the Packers get a first down. Then have to punt, and then Cowboys get a first. And so we got an exchange of punts here, and we think, okay, well, it's maybe they're going to settle in.
At least they're not hemorrhaging points.
Yeah, it's 7-0. And we go into the second quarter, and then another big drive.
Yep.
9 plays, 68 yards for the Packers, and the key plays here were a short little pass,
a little screen
to Wilson, for 25 yards.
Yep.
And then the touchdown to Dobbs again, right? Was that
Yeah, that would have been the one-on-one with Bland, right, in the corner there.
a 1 yard touchdown pass to Dobbs?
And the coverage, I will say, the coverage from Bland wasn't terrible. Bland looked pretty good there, but when
It's first game back,
and when you have a route runner, because that guy is a great route runner, and it's the old, and the Packers have been doing it for years, all the way back to Brett Favre and Sharp, right? Like, you throw that back shoulder before he's even out of his break, and there's nothing in the world you can do about it. So credit to them on that, because that was a fantastic execution of that play there.
Yeah, and I think the thing that sticks out to me are the two long passes for 25 and 28 yards with little short dump-offs.
Mm-hmm.
And this observation about the Cowboys defense, we are the worst team at getting off blocks in the history of football.
Almost doesn't look like they want to get off blocks.
Yeah, it's like, hey, I'm blocked over here. I can't get
do
out.
Anything, yeah.
So don't blame me. It's like it's the weirdest thing. And if you go back, now this has to do with the lack of play we're getting from the linebackers,
right,
and the safeties,
right.
But just watch the tape. It's like they are glued to those blockers and not really fighting to get off of them.
Yeah.
But again, we said earlier he had 28 pass completions for less than 10 yards in the air that go for bigger yardage. So that, now we're like, okay, it's about to be 14-0.
Right.
We're seeing some of these little issues that we're having with the defense that have been present the whole season so far. And then momentum changed.
And then Juwan showed up.
Now, it's been a year so far for block kicks.
Right.
In the NFL. It's like,
we're
what
only
happened?
a quarter
Did we
in.
just figure this out all of a sudden? But it's been a long time since I feel like the Cowboys really blocked kicks.
Yeah.
Right? And then he showed up. And,
and
he blocked it, and it went straight to Marquise Bell, and he was gone.
Yeah, Marquise Bell, man, that dude got some speed.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been I would say, all the way back to when Bones was here, Fossil.
Yeah.
Where you had a special teams unit from a block standpoint that you really felt like any time it could happen. It was great to see. And man, you talk about momentum being a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
That was definitely a moment for at least a little bit of a change in the momentum, because it just felt like there was a little bit of life that got breathed into the Cowboys in that moment.
Yeah, but it did change momentum. And then, we get the ball back, we punt, then they punt, and then we have a really nice drive by Dak, 11 plays, 95 yards, 95-yard drive.
Yep.
And capped off by a Dak draw.
Yeah, the design quarterback run. It's been a few years since we've seen that.
Yeah, and it just, okay, we're back in it. It's 13-9, and we're heading to halftime, and the defense causes a turnover, and then before you know it, we're up 16-13, and going into halftime, and Green Bay's probably going, what just happened?
Yeah, what just happened? And credit James Houston. I mean, look, the guy, he's made an immediate impact. And that's really all you can ask for when you get someone else coming in. I will say too, though, I love the play calling by Dallas to not be conservative and settle for the 3 there.
Yeah.
Because I almost had that feeling like, man, that's a ton of momentum. Go for the kill shot. Take a shot at the end zone. Don't try and get cute. And that's exactly what they did. And again, George Pickens shows up in a big way. Great route. And man, Dak is just playing some amazing football. So get you to the half. Yeah,
and I think that's, something you said there is that in the past they would have settled.
You're right.
And it's one play, one throw to Pickens and it's a touchdown. Right. So I think that we have to stop here and talk about Dak.
Yeah.
I mean, for all of the grief he's gotten,
so much,
he is playing like before he got hurt, he was playing really well.
Really well, yeah.
He got hurt. He's come back. Now he's playing even better.
He's trimmed down. He looks amazing.
Yeah.
Looks like he'd be in great shape. I was having a conversation with somebody and I just said, I'm really seriously thinking about this. Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, especially with the way Mahomes looked yesterday against the Ravens.
Yeah.
Although that defense, I don't know how much stock we put into that. Yeah. But there's not 5 guys in the NFL right now at quarterback that I want other than Dak Prescott. I might give you 2 or 3, but just right now today, for the first 4 games of the season, Dak Prescott has done absolutely. If you can say, hey, defense, just hold them to 37 and I got you.
Yeah.
The guy is just playing out of his mind. And you're right. I think what we're not here.
That's a funny comment. Hold him to 37 and we got him.
Right.
We're going to win. That's funny.
I think for all and you said, man, it's such a great sentiment because for all the flack that he gets, he is not getting that level of praise now. The defense is getting the flag.
Well, and he's earned it though. Like Dak is known as regular season champion.
Right.
Just stats galore.
Steve Nash.
Yeah,
and
it's just let me, empty stats sometimes. But when it's time to win, the game's on the line, playoff time.
Yep.
Dak doesn't play well.
That's right.
So look, I've not been a huge Dak guy.
Mm-hmm.
I just haven't been. I feel like I don't. Well, I mean, and part of it is I wouldn't pay anybody that much money who hasn't been able to deliver.
Yeah.
Championships, but he kind of had the Cowboys over a barrel there because it's like, what do? You let him go, and then we all remember all of the years before we got Romo between Aikman and Romo,
Quincy Carter,
and we don't want to. So it's kind of like that with the Cowboys.
Yeah. Well,
so I have not been a big Dak guy, but you can't knock him this year. He is playing phenomenally.
Yeah, no, 100%, and it's the one versus the one that you don't, and from the quarterback position, I get that, especially, and you said it, you're probably exactly right, being snake bitten in the past by it, you make a decision, and Jerry said it post game last night. Just to fast forward, he felt like Dak was indispensable, and Michael was dispensable.
But then he keeps throwing in the highest paid player in the NFL's out there.
Yeah.
So I think that, it's like,
it's always about the money.
Yeah. Well, it's like, hey, he should be. We pay him enough.
Right.
And so, but no, you can't knock Dak.
Yeah.
And all this hype going into the game about Micah, and in the first half, he's got a few pressures here and there, but not really. He's kind of silent. It's kind of like late season Cowboy games. It's like you don't hear from him much, right?
Yeah, no imprint on the game, really. And I know they seemed to make a concerted effort when they went to his side of the field. It was more in the screen to try to take advantage of his aggressiveness, but they were really running away from him. But yeah, for the first half, I mean, like you said, a couple of pressures, but didn't feel like he had any sort of imprint on the game.
No, it wasn't the dominant thing everybody thought it was going to be, and the Cowboys are winning. And let's be fair to Mike. It's got to be hard coming back. It's kind of like Luka when he came back to Dallas. The same thing. It's like the emotions, and maybe you're amped up too much. And by the way, they know he's over there, so they're trying to stop him from having a good game.
A lot of double teams.
Yeah, and here's the thing I took away from this: both offensive lines came in banged up, but they really did well.
Played very well.
Dak wasn't under a whole lot of pressure. I mean, he got some here and there. And we didn't get much pressure on Love. Some, but it was just the offensive lines held their own.
Yeah.
And so that was impressive. And I think then the fireworks started in the second half.
Oh yeah.
It got really, really interesting, right? And we exchanged a couple touchdowns in the third quarter, but in the fourth quarter and overtime, it just really got interesting. And here's what I'll say about our defense. When they did make a play, a penalty,
that's right,
wiped out some of the good, like the penalty on the late hit, the unnecessary roughness.
Where you drop the ball, you're going to set up a 3rd and long situation. If not for that, clear as day that the guy didn't catch the ball, and you just go ahead and lay the wood anyway.
Yeah, and I can't pronounce his name, or I would say it.
I can't either.
Luke, do you know how to pronounce his name? Luof? I don't know. I'm not even going to try.
Luofow.
Something like that.
Yeah, Luofow.
So. And he had a couple yards to stop, and and to me that was just kind of a selfish play.
Mm-hmm.
I understand sending a message, but that was just not smart.
No,
right?
it
so
really
it was
wasn't.
a big moment. And then Diggs had an interception that got wiped away on a penalty.
Yep.
But I think that the funny thing about the defense is you felt like they were doing better.
Yeah.
But the result was the same because the team they were playing is better.
Right.
Than before. Like the Giants game. They gave up a bunch of points. He didn't feel good about it.
I think it's the way it was happening. Like you mentioned it, 28 completions, 10 or less air yards. I mean, Russell Wilson was just throwing bombs.
That's true.
By the way, set a record career high in passing yards. probably be one of the last games he ever starts at his career.
Isn't that amazing?
I mean, just saying. But yeah, I think that the costly and timely mistakes, which if you look at the first 3 weeks of the season, that was one area where the Cowboys had been dramatically improved.
Yeah, penalties weren't an issue in the first 3 games.
At least it didn't seem like it did. And if they weren't costly.
Crept
they weren't
up a little last week.
Yeah, but they were not timely and not costly. It was the big play that had been hurting them.
Yeah.
But last night, you're 100% right, man. It seemed like and even offensively, there was a run by Williams that looked, like it was going to set up a good second and short, and then it comes back with holding, and we all know what that does to a drive. So yeah, the costly mistake is definitely the ones that hurt.
Yeah, and I think that again, all the hype was on the Cowboys are going to get blown out. Micah's going to dominate. We're in trouble. And the Cowboys showed a lot of resiliency, just going toe to toe with them. And in the fourth quarter, we got long drives. Like the Packers had a 70-yard drive for a touchdown. Then the Cowboys came back with a 77-yard drive for a touchdown. Then they said, "Okay, well, we're going to go 80 yards for a touchdown." And and then the Cowboys get a good return, I think, from Turpin.
Yep.
And then he got it to the 46 yards. And then they go down and score another touchdown. So we're just exchanging, and that score with 43 seconds left, you thought,
that's it,
we win. Yeah, but we forgot our defense has to go back on the field for 43 seconds.
I was texting my brother, and as soon as Pickens put it in the end zone, I was happy for a second, and then I literally said, "Cowboys win, good game," and then I said, "Never mind, there's still 43 seconds, too much time."
Yeah, and so that's really unfortunate when you think about that. And I said to my son, I was like, "Hey, 43 seconds is a long time. Remember what Rodgers did to us a couple times when we thought we had the Packers beat, and for some reason Dak can't beat the Packers. Yeah, even going back to the Dez Caught game, it's like we just can't beat the Packers. But you're right. It was quick, man. It was 3 pass plays, 7, 19, and then 28-yard touchdown pass to Pickens, who made a great move and down the sideline. Yep. And then we were like, okay, 43 seconds, defense, please make one play.
Just one play.
Just one play. And then the first stinking play of the drive, we're up 43 seconds, short pass to Jacobs, who goes 25 yards. Yeah. And you're like, okay, they're going to get a field goal at least. And you're hoping they don't score a touchdown.
Almost felt like LaFleur knew when Eberflus was bringing those zone blitzes because he's just like, all right, I got your tendency down. I know I know you think I'm doing that. It just becomes a chess match.
And he didn't blitz much. And they're one of the least blitzing teams the Cowboys are.
Right. But when you go into
and now we know why.
Right, exactly. Because when you go into that zone blitz scheme, you are so open for those quick hitters, the quick, those spaces that are emptied are really empty. You can just get right behind that first line, man. And credit to, again, LaFleur is, I think, going into the night, he had never lost to the Cowboys last night. And still hasn't, technically. But great. I mean, it was a great play call, but man, that first play, you knew at least they were coming away with 3. I kind of was like, man, I'm just hoping we get to overtime, because now I'm thinking touchdowns in play.
Yeah. And fortunately, we held them to a field goal to tie the game. And McManus is almost, as good as Aubrey, but
these kickers are insane.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And they said that last night. And I want to say something about the Sunday night deal. Yeah. They do a great job with the presentation of the game.
Oh, yeah.
Building the drama. I know Chris Collinsworth, some can take him or leave him. Yeah. And Tirico was in awe of Aubrey's ability to kick off perfectly. And so, but just the shots of the crowd. Yeah. The momentum swings and the back and forth, they really capture it well.
Yeah, the storytelling.
And so shout out to the Sunday Night Football team for doing that well. But then, all right, so we got overtime, and these are the new rules, right? And so it's a little confusing for us old fans. It's like, well, we get the ball first, we score, it's over. That's not the case anymore. Nope. Both teams get a possession.
You get a shot.
And obviously, if there's a safety or a defensive score, then it's over. But the Cowboys, again, impressively, go on a long drive. It's 76 yards, 5 minutes, 10 plays. But at the end, it's like Micah did show up and get a tackle on Dak for no gain. That's apparently a sack.
I'm glad you said that because
Yeah.
I hate that that's a sack. Now look, if you watch that play, if Micah's not there, Dak will score a touchdown. So tremendous play to chase him down. I don't think anyone's got Dak winning a foot race against Micah, even with the 3-yard head start.
Yeah. No.
So I do hate that it's a sack because that's the Favre Strahan sack. That's what that is. I'm just gonna give it to you. But I think it's the one play that you can for sure say without a doubt Micah definitely had an imprint in the game.
Yeah, and let's rewind a couple plays where Dak had that incredible throw to the sideline. Was he throwing it away?
Yeah.
Was he? I mean, Tolbert made a great play on that ball and an unbelievable, incomprehensible catch. I was like, there's very little chance that would actually happen in real life, but it did.
Right, for sure. And I think if you, again, watching it unfold, it looked purposeful, very purposeful.
It did.
Purposeful. So, and I obviously won't ever know probably. I will say when the ball gets thrown, Tolbert is flat-footed in the end zone. He is not working back toward that ball at all. So if Dak placed it, he can do it 100 more times, and I'd be very curious if he puts it right there ever again because it was absolutely perfect. And we've been talking about Pickens, but look, Flournoy showed up late.
Yeah,
Tolbert had a good game. Turpin started having
He's
a little wiggle.
A weapon.
He is a weapon, absolutely. Yeah. Even on decoy, they had a great ghost action with on the end around that ended up springing Williams for a good run because you have to respect that speed.
Yeah.
So I think CD being out was not talked about nearly as much as it should have been because the receivers actually stepped up and had a really, really productive game.
Well, and I think that's part of evolving and growing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like next man up.
Yep.
Can they do it, right? And do you think if CD plays last night, they win the game?
I mean, I would love to say yes, but it's hard to say, right?
Because I mean, that's the thing, and that's the thing that the tough spot is. Yeah, CD's a beast. We all know that. But when you it's kind of like when you take away the security blanket for the quarterback, how do they respond? And Dak found the right guys,
right?
And for me, it's like, okay, we make that incredible play. Micah makes an incredible play. Now it's time.
Do you kick it?
It's fourth down and goal. Do we kick it or do we go for it? What do you say in that situation?
So I will say my immediate thought is go for it.
Yeah.
And the reason I thought that is because there's two scenarios here. You score, and now all the pressure in the world's on the Packers to have to mirror that with probably sub 5 minutes to go. I think there was a little less than 5 minutes at that time.
Yeah, there
was. And if you don't get it, although your defense has not been great, it's looked better, it's felt better, and what's really hurt is these long, sustained drives. So I just felt like if you don't get it, you backed them up to they got 97 yards to the touchdown. They only need a field goal, so maybe they need 50 yards, give or take. But yeah, so my immediate thought was go for it, but when they kicked it, I can't say I was super upset about it. But I'm curious, where were you at before the play call came in?
Man, I think this is one of those decisions that hindsight is 2020,
right?
Because I understand kicking it. Because we've seen both these teams go on these long drives and just possess the ball, and both defenses struggle to get a stop.
Yep.
So I could understand. Okay, if I go for it, they got to go 94 yards, whatever it is.
Yeah.
The other way, 96 yards, whatever it is, and score, or just really get to the 40 to kick a field goal. So you're saying, okay, Aubrey's been kicking the ball off well. I'd rather them have to go 80 yards and score, or at least kick a field goal to tie it. So I wasn't really rooting hard one way or the other. If you ask me, I would like the ball in my own hands, my offense's hands, to win the game because my defense has not shown the ability to make a play when needed. this year. So I probably would say go for it. But if that's something they should have known before they got down there. Like, if we get here, is it a 4-down territory?
Right.
Because that would affect first down play call,
That's
the
very true.
second down play call,
Yep.
and the third down play call. Because if you're going to go for it on fourth down, then you can run the ball all 3 times and then go for it
Yeah.
from the 1-yard line or maybe wherever you're at. But
yeah, because you're really trying to get 3 yards with 4 plays.
yeah, or if I know I'm going for it on fourth down, instead of running it on first down, maybe I throw it on
Right.
first down and then run the next 3 downs to score.
And having said that, maybe
Yeah.
Shoddy said it's not 4-down territory. We're not going to go for it on fourth down. And that then, just to play devil's advocate,
Yeah.
maybe that was the thought process the whole time.
Well, and maybe, and so that's what I'm saying. If you're gonna go for it,
Yep.
you have to know early,
Yep.
and make that decision early on, and not in the heat of the moment. Then,
For sure.
which is, it's again, Schottenheimer I've been impressed with,
Yeah.
and you can't say that there hasn't been a little bit of a culture change here
A little bit, yeah.
with him, and I think it's just beginning. But I don't know anybody that's been around him that doesn't become a fan of his.
Yeah.
And I was like, when they hired him, like, what are we doing, right?
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, so we kicked the field goal.
Yep.
And then here comes Green Bay on another long drive, 13 plays.
Mm.
And the play before they kicked the field goal, it's like, what in the world are they doing, right? It's like
Yeah.
20-some seconds left, and they can't get lined up.
Yep.
They snap the ball with like 6 seconds left or something. And if that ball bounces up slightly
Yep.
and just hangs in the air a little bit, or he throws it on a different trajectory,
Yeah.
and they lose.
Oh, for sure.
Man, then we're talking about Jordan Love. What's going on? Oh, Matt LaFleur.
Yeah.
All the second guessing begins. And for a second there, I really thought we had won. And then
Yeah.
I saw 1 second still on the clock, and I'm like, really? It's a home game.
It's a home game. That's
Can
what
our clock operator help us out a little bit?
at least force the refs to go look at it and put the
Yeah.
second back on the clock. Don't, stop it with 1 second to go. But no, I agree with you. And LaFleur, that's been a knock on him, is just the whole time management, which it feels like every NFL head
Yeah.
coach, period, has that issue. I always say, just go hire. These guys need to go hire really, really good Madden players. Because if you ever play a game on Madden,
Don't you always go for it on fourth down on Madden?
well, yeah, you do. But I'm not talking about for that. I'm talking about for time management, because if you play a Madden game against really good, the time management on those, from those games is beautiful. So that has been a knock on LaFleur, and I think you're right. I think if the ball just breaks a little bit differently, the conversations are entirely different today.
Yeah, Cowboys win,
Yep.
and everybody pulled off the improbable, and bad decision making from Jordan Love or execution from Jordan
Yep.
Love, and decision making by LaFleur.
Yep.
But that's the way it goes, man.
Yeah.
It's that little bit of bounce, can change fortunes, right? And so, how do you feel coming off of that game? It's Cowboys are now 1-2-1.
Yeah.
And the Packers are 2-1-1, and they lost to the Browns the
Right.
previous week.
Yep.
So they're showing that they're mortal, right?
Yeah. And I think the really kind of interesting thing about that is, you mentioned earlier, the Cowboys trading for their draft picks, and everyone kind of assuming that that's a low, a back end first round pick. I'm not so sure. I mean,
Yeah.
Might be middle, might be, if they're out in the first round, then all of a sudden that capital becomes a little bit different. I'll say this. I think if you're a Cowboys fan and you're 1-2-1 and you've got the stretch that you've got coming up, you've got to be at least a little optimistic.
Yeah. There's hope.
There's hope.
And this is what the Cowboys do to us. They give us a little
They
bit
give
of
us
hope.
a hope. That's right.
And you said what's coming up. We got the Jets at New York, at Carolina.
Yep.
The Commanders here.
Yep.
That's the next 3 games. You can see them going 3-0.
Yep.
And winning all 3 of those games.
Absolutely.
And being 4-2-1.
At worst, you would expect 2-1 in those 3 games.
Yes.
And coming out of that stretch, if you say that's the record before the season starts, with everything we thought, trading Micah and blah, 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 okay. I'm not thrilled about that, But I'm also
Yeah.
not terribly upset because here's the thing, and this has been so true, especially in the NFL. There's such a league of great parity. Get yourself in the tournament, and then anything can happen.
That's right.
Teams that peak early, generally speaking, don't do very well.
Yeah.
So if your defense can start to figure it out, they've picked up Jadeveon Clowney. James Houston seems like somebody that's now going to get in the mix. You got Obershon coming back, where you desperately need help at the linebacker position. Man, it just kind of feels like give yourself an opportunity to play for the games at the end of December and January to matter.
That's right. Yeah, and I'll tell you, one of the things we haven't mentioned, a couple other key things, is Jadeveon Clowney made his debut.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think he's going to help
For sure.
For sure. And then Houston, that guy needs more playing time.
Way more, yep.
And maybe he's one of those guys that's better in spurts than if you put him in a game.
Could be.
But we have got to get better play from our safeties and linebackers. It just has to happen. I mean, I think Jack Sanborn I'm faster than him.
Got to be.
It's just I don't know what it is. I know he leads the team in tackles and all this stuff, but that's to me, if you're the best ugly looking guy, you're still ugly.
Right.
And
for
to
sure.
me, it's evident that we do not have linebackers that have good instincts or they're lacking talent, because I have never seen a worse linebacking core.
Yeah, you said it earlier when we were talking. He leads a team in tackles 7 yards downfield.
That's right.
He's not a, when I think about great linebacker playing, Ray Lewis and Brian Urlacher and Luke Kuechly and these guys that are constantly attacking the line of scrimmage and attacking the ball, it really feels like Sanborn is reactionary. There was one play where he had the back, it wasn't even Jacobs, it was the other back coming out of the flat. He has a great angle on him, and yet somehow still loses the race to the edge.
I've seen enough of him. It's just ugly, and we don't have anybody to replace him.
No.
And then, so if your linebackers are going to be terrible, your safeties can't be terrible.
Have to be better.
And I know Hooker got injured last night, a little toe, but to me, that could be a blessing in disguise. We'll see. We get somebody else to see if he can step up, just like you talked about with the receivers.
Yeah.
But to me, we got a glimpse of having Bland and Diggs there, right?
Yeah.
Diggs didn't play all the snaps, but having Bland there and Diggs there, we got less of Elam, which is better.
Bro, yeah.
So this is what the Cowboys do. They give us a little bit of hope. And 40-40 tie. Now that works for you if you're rooting for a high draft pick, because it's not a win.
That's right.
But it roots against you if you're trying to win, because it's not.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, ties are just like, ugh. You heard it say it's like kissing your sister.
Right.
Like, I don't know why you'd ever do that, but
I never understood that.
To me, it's like, it's just bad.
Yeah.
And so the NFL maybe have to take a look at that, and maybe it's the college rule that we need to look at. Maybe it's just 15-minute overtime period.
Yep.
Whatever it is, but it's not. They're not done tweaking that, I don't think.
No, I think you go back to I think with the way that it's played out now, especially lately, because a lot of these overtime games seem to be coming down to the last 2 minutes.
Yeah.
If you get back to the 15-minute rule, that also changes the strategy, because right now everyone's deferring. Everyone wants to play defense second.
Yeah, that's right.
Because that's
you gotta know what you have to get.
Yeah, and it's the right decision.
Field goal, touchdown.
100%. It's the right decision. But if you go to a 15-minute overtime, where now both teams conceivably can take one possession, and now it's whoever gets the ball first will get the ball third. Well, now all of a sudden you're probably going to change that perspective. So I agree with you. I don't think they're done tinkering. I think maybe you see the same thing like they did with this rule. Maybe they go back to the 15-minuters in overtime, although I think they just keep playing in the playoffs. So, but yeah, I think you're definitely not done with that rule yet.
So, does all the Micah talk die down now?
I feel like it almost has to, because the one thing that I think I've heard everyone say consistently is Micah wasn't good for the run.
Yeah.
Micah hurt us in the run game. And without knowing what the data will say, it feels like they've gotten better. I don't know if they've given up a 100-yard rusher yet. I mean, Jalen Hurts may have gotten close.
Well,
but
stats are deceiving, because to me, a little swing pass is a run.
That's right.
And so maybe you're better against the run, but you're giving up these 30-yard screen passes that go 4 yards in the air.
That's fair.
So it's just deceiving, right? You can make stats prove out whatever you want. Here's what we know: they can't get off blocks.
Right.
The linebackers are tackling way down the field. The safeties aren't covering anybody.
Yeah.
So that's the real problems for the
for
Cowboys.
sure. But to your question, I think the Micah stuff will die down a little. One, I think everyone had this game circled on the calendar.
Yep.
I think it's, I heard this somewhere. It hasn't even been 30. It hasn't been a calendar month since he's gotten traded, which is crazy to say. But so it's still very fresh. But I think given that this game went the way it went, I think the Packers defense was after that first game was up. The missing pieces there. You've got a championship contending defense. You've got an obviously explosive offense. The Packers are going to be legit contenders. And then, oh, by the way, Dak hangs a 40 burger on them. So I think it'll die down, if nothing else, than for the fact that this offense did to them what nobody expected them to do. Dallas was a 6.5 point home dog.
That's crazy.
And the over-under was like 45 or 48 or something. And most of the country was thinking Green Bay is good for 30 of that.
Yeah.
So, I think it will, and I think it should. What say you?
Well, I think it will. I think that the funny thing about it is Micah being on either team didn't make the difference in the game.
No.
And I think that's what a lot of people, if you're for the trade or not against the trade or not paying, you're for not paying Micah the money, then this, you can argue, well, see, this is what we're talking about, right? But if you're also on the other side and go, we should never trade a guy like that. He's a generational deal, and we can't get any pressure on the pass rusher. Well, Micah was there in the playoff game when we played the Packers.
That's right.
And got blown out. And so I think it will die down, and I think it really depends on what happens. I mean, the Cowboys could go 1-2 in these next 3 and do the most Cowboys thing ever.
Yep.
And then, but what do the Packers do? I think that's the question now. Is you lost to the Browns on the road in a game where Cleveland just kind of beat them up physically.
Yep.
And then you tie in a shootout to the Cowboys, a game everyone had you all but just pummeling.
Yep.
And so now there's some questions formulating on the Green Bay side. And I think a lot of this game is about confidence and we're going to run our stuff no matter what people do, and we'll see how true they are. They're going to get some help back with Christian Watson and Reed, and their offensive line will get better, and so will ours. Right. But I think it will die down. I think we've kind of had enough of that kind of talk. Yeah. And if Jerry will just stop talking, we'll all be better for it as far as those kinds of things.
Yeah.
And we'll see. We'll see what happens. And it's on to the Jets.
Yep.
And, the Jets will have Fields back, and it'd be interesting to see what he does. I think they're playing tonight, right? So
they're playing tonight, and I think he's back tonight, actually.
Yeah, so we don't know what the Jets are, so it's hard to get a read. No. But here's what I'll tell you. The Cowboys on the road, nothing surprises me with that team.
They can't.
They could not show up and get blown out
and win by 30
or just score every time they have the ball. So I think it's an opportunity in this 3-game stretch to decide, is it going to be a 6-win season or a 9-win season?
That's very fair.
And I think that's probably where most people have them as far as win totals this year.
Yeah, so I think preseason was 7.5, and I will just put a little bow on that same talk. Is the NFC is wide open.
Yeah.
You saw Philly and Tampa Bay yesterday. Both teams look flawed. I saw the stat, and I'm sure it's been said 1,000 times by now, but Jalen Hurts didn't have a completion in the second half, which is absolutely wild. 0 for 8 in the second half, didn't have a completed pass.
But he's also, 17-1 in his last 18 starts?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can't.
And I heard Sirianni say, I'm not in the entertainment business. I'm in the winning football game business.
That's fair.
So look, it's still early. I mean, look at what the Saints did last year. Everyone thought they were going to be awesome, and then they tanked, right?
That's true.
You just don't know.
Yeah.
I think that a team to keep an eye on is the Rams.
Yep.
If Stafford stays healthy.
Yep.
Tampa Bay, the Lions,
Lions look great.
So it is wide open.
Yeah.
But the teams we expect to be there aren't doing anything to make us doubt them.
Right.
Maybe the Packers are the only team that's really going, who are they going to beat, right? So we'll see, but all in all, I think you come out of this game going, we didn't get blown out. We should have literally won the game.
Yeah.
But it's a tie.
Yeah.
And you can't ever feel good about a loss or a tie, but again, we'll see what happens over the next couple of weeks. Is this false hope, or is this hey, we're building on something here, right?
Yep.
And so, listen, I've enjoyed talking Cowboys here.
Yeah.
This is our debut episode, so be kind to us. Okay, have a little grace here. We'll be on talking a lot of different things. We love sports. We love, just talking about life, entertainment, WWE.
Yep.
You can see I'm a Star Wars guy. We're live from my media room here, and my son put these together here for me, and
awesome.
and the set looks awesome.
Really does.
We're not a high budget, but we're not a no budget, so we're somewhere in between there.
Yeah.
And we don't know if only 4 of y'all listen. We'll rock with the 4 of y'all, and
That's it. Let's
just
do it.
keep doing it. But
let's do it.
we're gonna have a lot of fun. I'm excited about this endeavor, and I'm glad to be doing it with you, Nick, and having Luke help us on the
Absolutely.
the tech end of things and tweaking the knobs over there is what they used to say in the radio. But I don't know what that.
We might need to come up with a new phrase.
Yeah. he's not claiming us yet. So
yeah.
So hey, we appreciate you joining us. It's on to the New York Jets, and if you're a Cowboys fan, we appreciate you listening. And if you're not, we appreciate you listening anyway. So go Cowboys! We're gonna root for them.
Yep.
To do something here, and we'll catch you next time. So thank you for watching the Dead Jeff Show. Until next time, we'll see you later.